Hey, folks, here I am back again. Yep, it's me. It's your man, Adolphus AD Moore. Last week I was on the West Coast, and back in H Town now. And the first thing off the bat, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope that the Lord bless each and every one of y'all with a safe and prosperous and a good New Year as we get 2022 kicked off. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get down with our Texans today, who have been on a 2-game winning streak. A lot of improvements have developed with the Texans, but they ran into a buzzsaw today, and I thought they had a better chance, even though they were going to be in Levi Stadium for the 49ers home field today. But the Texans fell to the San Francisco 49ers today, 23-7. And that score can be very misleading because the Texans really drew first blood, scored first in the second quarter. In fact, I thought that's really when the Texans should have really laid the hammer into the 49ers because Trey Lance was really a little bit all over the place in that first half, and I don't think they took advantage of it. They really, I know they were trying to keep him in the pocket and really make him a pocket passer, but in the end, his legs, which in his natural abilities, a la a Deshaun Watson-like type player, was the downfall for the Texans' defense, but what was the saving grace for as the 49ers was concerned, and kept the 49ers' hopes alive for their chance to get into the playoffs. Unlike the Los Angeles Chargers that came here and got slapped in the mouth and just folded, the 49ers didn't fold. In fact, they put extreme pressure on the Texans offense today, particularly in the second half. And I'm gonna go back I'm gonna question some of the play calling in the second half. And it's not the play calling, the execution. But maybe when you start, because play calling is a delicate type of thing. When things are working, there are some sequential things that make you a successful offense and keeping the defense on its toes. And I don't think that sharpness, that quickness, that intuitiveness that we had seen the last couple of weeks that allowed Mills to explode his exploit his talents and everything else. But hey, what can I say? But while we're talking about the Texans and what happened today, my man on the road, Elwyn Henderson, was up in Big D, and he was with the Cowboys today because he's sitting back in his lounge here. I know folks not going to recognize him because he's not driving. He don't have the DPS following behind him. So, Elwyn, Happy New Year, man. Welcome to the new year, man. Welcome back to the corner.
Hey, thanks a lot, AD. Happy New Year to you as well, and glad to be back.
Well, tell you what, I sound like your vocal cord's been strained a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you just need to. Never mind. I'm not gonna give you my trade secret. What you need. But I tell you what, we were probably watching. Both of us was watching, flipping, going back and forth, and watching 2 games a day. And I know for a fact that you really paid more attention to the Cowboys because they had more to lose or more on the table today. And after just sort of going bonkers wild today, let me have your initial impressions of what you thought of the Texans, and then let me have your thought process. And let me just ask this question: is Mike McCarthy's job safe in Dallas?
Okay, so first off, my thoughts on the Texans. Just like you said, AD, I really thought they would play a much better game out in San Francisco. Kept up with the game back and forth during the contest because obviously it started 20 minutes before the Cowboys game did. But it was obvious that they didn't make adjustments at halftime that they needed to make. And I think that's what killed the Texans. So as far as the Cowboys are concerned, Jekyll Hyde is the best way I can describe what I've seen in Dallas this year. They started out great. They looked horrible, but still won most of the games in the middle of the season. And everybody thought they were on track after that big, huge 56 points they put up on the Washington football team last week. I've got a good friend, and I know I've discussed him with you, Mike Malarkey, who is a team photographer for the New York Giants. And Mike called me after that game last Sunday night, and he said, "Man, are you drinking the Cowboys Kool-Aid yet?" I said, "No, I am not drinking the Cowboys Kool-Aid yet." I said, I've taken the package, I've torn the wrapper open, I've poured the powder into the pitcher, and I've poured some water into the pitcher. If they beat Arizona, I'll stir it up and put it in the refrigerator. And then if they beat the Eagles the last game of the season, I'll pour a glass and drink it. Now, after today's game, I've just poured the powder and the water out. I'm not even going to think about drinking the Kool-Aid. I have zero confidence that this Cowboys team can get on a roll and do what they need to do in the playoffs. They dropped with that loss 25-22 today to the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray from the 2nd seed to the 4th seed. And I just don't think they can put it together for whatever reason. Mike McCarthy's job. I would have said 3 games ago, no, I don't think he's in any kind of danger at all. But after what transpired earlier this week, when Dan Quinn was given permission to interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars, along with Kellen Moore,
Mm-hmm.
of course, as you know, Doug Peterson's already been interviewed for that position. I really don't think they're going to hire Peterson, or I think they would have hired him right then. But
what, Jacksonville?
Yes.
Well, but in that wasn't that it? I mean, let me just interrupt. Wasn't that Shad Khan's biggest problem right now? The first thing he smells and sees, he think that's it. I mean, isn't that the reason that the Jacksonville Jaguars is the pit of hell right now with that franchise?
Yes, I agree. But Kellen Moore is going to be interviewed sometime this week by the Jaguars. I still think he's shown some sparkle of brilliance, but there have been a few games this season, including a good part of today's game, that I thought he was just an average offensive coordinator as far as the play calls. He had some great calls, but then he had some just average calls that didn't really make a lot of sense in some cases. But the bigger key to me, Dan Quinn, who, as everybody knows, was the head coach in Atlanta, turned
Right.
the defense around this season. Dan Quinn was also given permission to talk to the Jaguars. He turned them down and said he did not want to interview. There's been some speculation that he's on the radar of the Denver Broncos if Vic Fangio indeed gets fired at the end of the season after next week. But I just wondered myself if maybe Jerry Jones has had some conversation with Dan Quinn about, hey, hang tight in here. Let me see what happens. This team started off so well. They've had some struggles. I want to see what they'll do in the playoffs. But I honestly think that McCarthy's job could be in jeopardy if they don't go to the second round, at least to the playoffs. And if they don't, based on what he's done with the defense, I think Dan Quinn is in waiting for the position, so to speak.
Now, I'm on this. I hope folks understand. You and I got a long history together.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this tongue in cheek. Jerry wouldn't go behind Mike McCarthy's back and do that, and would do that to Mike McCarthy for Dan Quinn. Now, would he?
Of course not.
Yeah, we ought to have some of that Ron and Martin laughing and stuff, and somebody come out there and just bust some, like He's not. Come on, Jerry's already stated that I got only so many years to live. Jerry's watching a lot of his contemporaries already have passed him on. Jerry's probably already counting his days of going to the cemetery. Jerry wants to see another championship, although I'm going to state this right now. The reason that he doesn't have any more championships than he has right now is Jerry's fault.
I agree.
And period. I mean, because Jerry's gotten in his own way. But I'll say this. When you have the Fortune 500, the most wealthiest team in period, overall, I don't care who you're talking about. I don't care what sporting franchise, the Dallas Cowboys are the epitome of the wealthiest franchise, period.
Right.
No, bar none. So I tip my hat to him. He knows how to make he knows how to make his money with AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World. He's done all of that. The fact of the matter remains that he has not been able to come back and grab that chemistry he had with Jimmy Johnson, and then him and Jimmy didn't get along, and so he got rid of Jimmy. Then he brought Swift Barry in, that came in, let him be a caretaker for a year. And so all of a sudden now he hasn't been able to duplicate any of that yet. And I think if we use the old Michael Jackson song, "Man in the Mirror," Jerry, need to look at yourself in the mirror, because you, like you said, I'm the man that pays the bills. I'm the general manager. I can fire myself, but I hire myself. So guess what? You're the man in charge. But I'm gonna be candid with you, Elwyn. With all that talent that Dallas have, and I didn't realize that Zeke has not been the Zeke of old. And I think you finally I think all those carries are finally catching up to Zeke.
Yeah,
that's bottom line. And I mean, anybody knows. But Zeke is in his fifth year now, and I think those carries, those 300+ carries that he's had prior year, it is finally caught up and starting to wear and tear on him. And I think that's what you're seeing with Zeke. But as far as the wide receivers and everything else, there's no excuses. I mean, the injuries aside, that defense with they're gonna talk about all the Pro Bowls that the Cowboys gonna have or will have. It's no excuse for Dallas, not the way they're playing, the inconsistency of it. So I'm just like I said, I just want to do tongue in cheek. Jerry wouldn't do that to Mike McCarthy. Like,
yeah. Hey, I don't know if you heard, but I do have to mention this. Really, really sad. Michael Gallup, when he caught a touchdown pass from Dak this afternoon, grabbed his left knee, and I just heard before kickoff of the Sunday night game between Green Bay and Minnesota that he tore his ACL. He's done. No Michael Gallup for the playoffs.
Wait a minute. That's the second. Isn't that the second ACL they done had, Dallas? I mean, not that other teams haven't had it, but I mean, as far as a critical player, isn't that the second ACL they done had in as many weeks?
Yes. It's really disappointing. And obviously, as critical a receiver as he's been at certain times, that's going to hurt him going into the playoffs. And, I love Dak Prescott to death. He's a fantastic gentleman, class act in the NFL, but something's wrong. I'm wondering if it's still an issue with that ankle. At times he looks fantastic, and at times he just looks like an average quarterback. And today, the better part of that game, he was just an average quarterback again.
Well, I'm wondering that Vance Joseph after watching all them touchdowns last week, I think Vance. I mean, let's face it, the Arizona Cardinals were really playing for their life. They were the most desperate team. That was a desperate team that walked in there today.
Absolutely.
And so, from a defensive standpoint, the Arizona Cardinals walked in there and basically they hit the Cowboys in the mouth. They walked into Jerry's world, walked out there to the middle of the field, hit them in their mouth, and the Cowboys really didn't react until the end, and really it was a little bit too late before they finally woke up to the realization that the Cardinals weren't going to lay down. And beside the fact that and I don't whatever this is worth, Kyler Murray hadn't lost at home since when? I mean, since before he since junior high school?
Well, he is 8-0 at AT&T Stadium. 4 stations there, won 2 bowl games with Oklahoma there, and has defeated the Cowboys twice there in the NFL. So he is undefeated in that stadium.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I guess Dan Quinn got to find some kryptonite for at least when the Arizona Cardinals come back. Jumping back to the Texans today, we sort of tossed this around a little bit today. I'm still impressed with Davis Mills and his progression. I think that and plus all the plethora of bowl games that we have, and I want to. And before we get off, I want to get your impressions of the championship game. Nick and Kirby Smart, what you think is gonna come out of it, but don't disclose it yet. But I think Davis Mills today. I think that the 49ers really turned up the intensity level in the second half. But and this goes back to the point you raised, and I think everybody else making adjustments on the fly. And this is the difference between successful franchises that consistently win and those that don't and don't know how to make me, because I'm starting to see situations when the Cowboys, with not the Cowboys, with the Texans today, that the 49ers ends start crashing down more so in that second half. And not coming upfield. They basically was just crashing down. And to me, I thought that this was a chance to exploit that aggressiveness, and they didn't do it. They didn't take advantage of it this afternoon. Not in the second half. Let's face it. Nobody was going to let Rex Burkhead get 149 yards rushing today. We knew Rex Burkhead was not going to get another 149 yards a day. That was not going to he was not going to do his imitation of Lydell Mitchell. I'm going to go back old school or some of those guys like that. And that wasn't going to be any of that. No Gale Sayers, no Leroy Keys, anybody like that. We weren't going to see that again today. But I thought if you could have established them for a little bit, just for a little bit, to make the front seven a hole on a play action, which nobody, like they said, and really their front four basically took over the line of scrimmage in the second half. And let's face it, whereas last week the Texans offensive line played on the defensive side of the ball, today in Levi Stadium, they really their impact they were negated at the line of scrimmage in the second half, and it just is no other ways to look at it. And so I think when you got situations like that, because I don't even think the Texans ran a screen pass today. If I remember, I don't even remember them trying to throw a screen pass to try to negate that aggressiveness in the second half. There were a ton of 3 and outs, and everybody started walking around throwing their hands up. And I think again the situation that Trey Lance, he finally got a chance to get outside and utilize his athletic ability on the run, hit Deebo Samuels, and then hit another touchdown pass. But when the Texans, I think, really should have put more pressure on them right before the half, they didn't. And to me, they missed a golden opportunity for that ball game. But like I say, next week, and here's the unique thing about next week, Elwyn. They got a desperate Tennessee Titan team that if the Tennessee Titans win this ball game, and for some of you folks that don't understand, the old Houston Oilers, if they come in here, they need to win this ball game to secure the first round bye. If they win, they get to win the first round bye, and they don't have their horse, but they put up they between Balin Wire and Bubblegum, they've stuck together long enough, and they come in here with opportunity to win. So don't expect to see the same Tennessee Titans you saw in Nashville. And I expect to see a team that's going to ready to come in here and going to hit somebody in the mouth. And I think it's going to be. I think they're going to try to jump on the Texans real quick. But if I'm the Texans, play with house money. Make them. I was scared. Look here. I would go on fourth and whatever. What do you have to lose?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I still think one of the big reasons they beat Tennessee in Tennessee is the fact that David Culley did spend some time in New England with Belichick, just like Vrabel did coaching after he retired from there. And I think David Culley knew a lot of the tendencies of what Vrabel would do. And Mike Vrabel is so intelligent himself, he's going to make some major changes from what they put on the field in Tennessee. Now, that having been said, I'm going to go on record now saying something, and some of the people watching may disagree with me, but David Culley inherited an absolute total nightmare mess when he was hired as the head coach of the Texans, with everything going on with Deshaun Watson, with everything about the Nick Caserio hiring. And, I'm not going to get into was that the right hire or not. I'm just saying he inherited a mess. And I honestly believe the way the Texans played the last 2 games before today, David Culley deserves another year as the head coach of the Houston Texans. There may be a lot of people watching this that disagree with me, but I think he deserves another year because they have made some strides in these last few weeks. And I think it would be a tremendous disservice if he's not given another year. Now, that having been said, if they can't improve on the record next year from this year's record, then yeah, unfortunately, it may be time to look. But another year.
Yeah, I concur. I think he does deserve another year. I mean, yeah, I've had folks that just want to query me. What do you think? I mean, look, here's basically what you did. You interviewed the man at a slaughterhouse.
Yeah,
You carried him out to lunch at the slop pen, and then you said, okay, hey, I'm giving you this nice fat contract. They gave him a 5-year contract.
right.
So good, because that'll be the nice cherry on the top for his retirement and everything. But he wants to win, I think, and I think they to me, and I could be wrong, and this is no shade on David Culley. I think the Texans took the cheap and easy way out because of what they wanted to do. And Culley, here was an opportunity for him to be a head coach. Not to say he didn't deserve to be a head coach, because he probably did deserve to be a head coach. He deserved to be a head coach as much. I mean, let's face it, you and I watched this league a long time. We've seen some guys, and that list of the 10 worst head coaches in the National Football League. I don't think he would be. He wouldn't head the list. I could think of several guys that could go up ahead of him. So I concur. I think that he deserves the opportunity to come back. He didn't hire his coaches. But I think I'll say this right now. I think there's going to be a change at the OC spot on this with this team. I could be wrong.
Should be, in my opinion.
I could be wrong, but I think there will be a change at the OC. I think Lovey will be back. I think Lovey, to me, is their ace in the hole. Lovey is their trump card that they keep him back just in case something goes wrong. Because with Lovey's background, with him being not only being the D coordinator, but just being the associate head coach, for him to be there, for him to step in. Because if they want to pull the trigger, Lovey's going to be the man that they want to put in that spot there with no ifs, ands, or buts. But be that as it may, next week is going to present a lot of. As far as the NFL is concerned, next week is the twilight zone in a positive way for the NFL, because you still got teams that's going to be fighting all the way down to the very last week. That's what the NFL always wanted. This is their parity, Elwyn. This is their parity, and so we'll be looking at that and looking what they want, and this is what everybody still be watching next week, and so they'll be glued to the seat. The Las Vegas is going to make a ton of money. And so, and speaking as a ton of money, before I get ready to let you go back and drink that nice hot toddy for your tonsils, for your tonsils and everything. Alabama and Georgia, who you picking and why?
Well, based on what happened earlier in the year, based on what he's done since he went to Tuscaloosa, as much as I don't like Alabama and as much as I don't like Nick Saban, I don't even think it'll be a close game. I think it's going to be Alabama hands down again.
Well, you don't like Nick Saban, man. I'm just curious. I know we discussed this, but see, just this is YouTube, so I mean, it's Sunday night. But why you don't like Nick Saban? I'm just a little. I'm curious. I mean, he doesn't remind you of Tom Landry?
No. Why don't I like Nick Saban? Absolute pure jealousy that he could win so much. Along with the fact, I don't like his demeanor and personality. Just rubs me the wrong way.
Well, I mean, you rub people the wrong way.
Sure. The only thing I like about Nick Saban, I love the Aflac commercials.
Yeah, and the fact that Dion has gotten in that whole thing. Yep. Yeah, that new breed of and a lot of folks that it's funny you would mention that, because a lot of people thought that they asked Nick about the situation when Jackson State got that number 1 pick, and asked Nick, and I was sitting there going like, did you actually think Nick was going to say something bad about Dion? I
He
mean,
started.
they both do commercials together. I mean, come on, are you kidding? Nah, he wasn't going to do that.
No.
But hey man, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and cut you loose. I appreciate it. Thank you for jumping on. Can the Cowboys win next week? Will they beat the Eagles?
I'm up in the air about that. And here's the reason why. When they were the number 2 seed going into the game today, if they'd won, they would have held number 2. And if the Vikings could have somehow or another found a way to beat Green Bay tonight, they could have jumped up to the number 1 seed. Now they have 0 opportunity to be the number 1 seed. They're number 4 right now. They really don't have much at all to gain. My fear is that they will hold a lot of the starters out next week against the Eagles. We're going to rest them up for the playoffs. Well, they did that 2 years ago, Jason Garrett's last year, and that resting them up didn't work well at all because they lost the first round of the playoffs. I'm not a proponent of not playing all of your starters the last game of the year if nothing's on the line. I think you've got to keep that continuity. I realize there's a danger of an injury, but I think you've got to play your starters at least for a half in that last game of the season just to keep them fresh and prepared. So for that reason, I'm not sure. And the Eagles have everything to gain because they have not secured a playoff spot yet.
Correct. Well, hey man, like I say, I tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and pull. I'll pick the Cowboys. I know the Eagles gonna come in here desperate. I mean, I think the fans was trying to. They weren't trying to kill Jalen Hurts at the end of the game today. I don't know if you got a chance to see that clip or not. So I know they weren't trying to, but it was some of the that was one of the wildest scenes I ever saw, man. And just the fact that and the thing about it, do you realize how close they come to losing that starting quarterback?
You bet.
One of the wildest scenes I ever got a chance to see. And the thing about it, what was interesting, one of the offensive linemen came rushing in at the end and sort of, even though the stadium ushers got him, but I saw one of the big offensive linemen come rushing in there, grabbing him and pushing him on through. I'm going like, where were you before?
Yeah.
But anyway, Elwyn, like I said, you and I, we'll talk offline during the week. I appreciate you again, bro. And like I say, this has been On the Road with Elwyn, except he didn't have to get on the road today. People probably not gonna recognize you not driving in the car, man. But that's
probably.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you, man. I don't know what you're gonna be eating at tomorrow, but whatever you do, just tell the folks we say hello, and we'll probably have to bring the corner up there and just sit down and have lunch with you one day and go live. That'll be one crazy hell of a lunch.
Oh, you got to do that. I can show you stuff in the big city of Gilmer.
You mean bigger than Tyler and Longview?
Hey, 5,000 people here.
Hey, man, I'm out, man. Go ahead, man. Good seeing you, man. And go take care of that throat, man. I appreciate you, bro. And have a continue good and God bless and good health and everything else, man.
You too, AD.
All right, man. Take care. All right, we'll see you. Chris, as Elwyn moves off and takes care of his throat, my man Chris Gardner, we're gonna jump in here. And Chris, the Cougars won. They actually played basketball today, huh? They had enough people on both sides for the Cougars on the road to win, huh?
Yeah, they found a way to win. They won by 5, 66-61 on the road over Temple. The Cougars played 7 players, 3 guards. Only have 3 guards healthy now. So Kyler Edwards is still dealing with ankle, and of course Marcus Sass and Jamon Marker out for the year with their surgeries. So, yep, Jamal Shedd played the whole game at point guard, and down the stretch you could tell he was fatigued physically and mentally. He made some mistakes that he really would make normally. But they found a way to win. And if I may say so, Ramon Walker, freshman, made a big 3-pointer. He's a winner of the Guy V. Lewis Award 2021 which I'm a member of the committee
Okay.
on the board for the Guy V. Lewis Award. So I got to pat myself on the back for that one. We got that one right once again. Ramon Walker, the award goes to the best boys player in the greater Houston area.
Okay.
So Ramon from Shadow Creek High School. And oddly enough, AD, for those who are new to the award, Tremont Mark won it the previous year from Dickinson. Galen Robinson won the award a few years ago.
Right.
Galen Robinson, as Coach Sampson has said, his decision to attend U of H started a pipeline for local talented players locally to decide to go to U of H. So Tremont and Ramon Walker are just continuing that trend that Galen set. So it got so much almost controversy about how many Guy V. Lewis Award winners U of H had signed. Folks got mad at us. Why are y'all picking the same people at U of H signed? It's not our fault. U of H kept signing the best player in the city, So, but that's where we are. But yes, long story short, U of H found a way to win today, and that's all that matters.
Let me ask a question. Does Coach Sampson have enough on the bench there, or is he something? I know he's good at developing talent. Will these players that he have left, did he have enough players to step up and be able to, or this is going to be trial by fire?
He has enough players. I mean, Kyler Edwards with the grade 2 ankle sprain, he tried in warm-ups today. They held him out. There's a chance he may play this coming Wednesday. Probably unlikely to make it 8 players for the rotation. There are freshmen on the bench who could play, who are eligible to play, but Coach Sampson doesn't trust them enough to give them minutes to extend the rotation to 9, 10 deep. So right now it's 7 players. That's who he's going to roll with. And once Kyler Edwards gets back, it will be 8. And then in a pinch, foul trouble, you might see J.V. Francis, big man who was from here, ready for it, going to I think IMG Academy in Florida, or Montverde Academy, one of those 2 schools in last season before coming to U of H. He's a freshman. Another freshman, Robbie Armbrester. Those are front court guys. So they got enough front court depth. Even when Kyler Edwards gets back healthy, Houston has just 4 guards healthy, and plus walk-on Ryan Elwyn. So if Ryan Elwyn plays a lot of minutes, U of H might be in trouble.
Okay. All right, Chris, I'm gonna ask you. I know this is Houston Roundball, but I'm gonna ask you a football question. Don't get mad at me now.
Depends on the question.
Alabama, Georgia, in the championship.
I heard Elwyn's comments, and a lot of folks are gonna agree with him. But I go back, AD, up until the SEC championship game, Georgia was the best team in the conference, best team in the country. And then Alabama's offensive line had struggled almost the entire season. Georgia's defensive line was great, dominating all these opponents. But in that SEC championship game, it looked like, because Alabama's offensive line was so great in that game, it looked like Georgia's defense took a hit for the conference because they were outmanned the whole game. It looked like they didn't try to play, they didn't want to win. So Nick Saban said, okay, y'all gonna play like this? I'm gonna dominate. Bryce Young gonna light y'all up all over the field. So Bama won the game. Championship game, I choose to believe Georgia is going to revert to the Georgia before the SEC championship game and play like they were before that game. I choose to believe that. So based on that assumption, I'm picking Georgia to beat Bama in the championship game next Monday.
You know what? It's tough to me. And you're talking about college kids, 18 to 22-year-old kids. And within just 3 weeks ago, they just played about 3 weeks in the SEC championship. And they dominated this team. And I know and I know Kirby Smart, everybody went back, licked their wound. They drubbed the Georgia defense. I thought, one of the best offensive lines I've seen overall, because Michigan runs the football. It was back to Bo Schembechler type days for those that remember watching Michigan, and it wasn't even a fair contest. Now, did they go? Are they back to that Georgia pre-Alabama? Or that's the question that I still need to resolve in my mind. And can a Nick Saban team come back and beat a team with, and you asking college kids to keep that same mental tenacity? that same focus and come back in within a month's time and beat this team again, I think you're asking for a whole lot. But I think if anybody can get it done, that team can get it done. So
what's your pick?
I just told you Alabama, man. Come on.
Okay, so you and Elwyn pick Alabama. I pick Georgia. That's fine.
Okay, good. I mean, and we'll see. I mean, come on. Hey, it's not like I'm stepping out on a big long limb and somebody cutting it off behind me. I mean, they are the defending national champion. Until somebody knock them off, we're gonna see. So, but anyway, that's it, man.
And
I appreciate it.
I don't have a lot of faith in Kirby Smart. I mean, honestly, against Nick Saban, has he beat Nick Saban? I mean, there's not a lot of reason for me to believe him, but why not?
Nick Saban is 25-1 against his all his former coaches that have gone on. 25-1, and then one just showed up this past season in Jimbo Fisher, and they A&M beat him.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, let's face it. I mean, what the dynamics that's down there in Tuscaloosa, man. Hey, whatever it's got, whatever the mojo's going, they have it. But hey, man, I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you. Take care, and as we get ready to close out another show up on the corner, AD Max Korner, this is your man. Again, I wish each and every one of you all a blessed 2022. From the bottom of my heart, be safe. The Omicron part of this COVID-19 is ravaging. If you have not gotten your booster, go get the booster. I'm not going to sit up here and try to, if you want to go take your medical advice from some novice, i.e. a Joe Rogan type, that's your life. Go ahead, but don't come around me with that mess. Because if I can have the opportunity to go get another booster, I darn sure be in line right now to get another booster to try to keep yourself away. No, this is not the flu. No, this is not a cold. I mean, this thing is serious, and you can catch it more than once. Because I know for a fact that folks I know personally and I love to death has caught it again. So, folks, don't play with this stuff. Do what needs to get done. Go protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your friend, even protect your enemies. And I know that in this climate that we live in right now, to say protect your enemies, but that's the Christianity in me. That's what I was raised with. Even Lord, protect my enemies and bless them too, because I know that I might bruise my heel at somewhere down the road. But without further ado, a good Happy New Year again. This is your man, Adolphus AD Moore. I'm out of here. Peace, love, ciao. I'm gone. Deuces, we done. And I'll see you next week, folks.